Now it's the historic Mosport circuit in Canada next. Coverage of the American Le Mans Series resumes today north of the border in Canada. It's the GlobeMegaWheels.com Grand Prix of Mosport, where the exotic $1 million sports cars from makes like Audi, BMW, Porsche, and Dodge will be wheeled by top drivers from throughout the United States and countries around the world.
And in the GT class, well, BMW won last time out. Last year's champion Alex Job Racing's car is on pole position for Porsche, and the Works Porsche drivers, they crashed both of Dick Barber Racing's 911s in practice. Anything could still happen here. Well, to find out how these stories and all the others pan out, first we've got to get this show on the road.
Drivers, start your engines.
A little under 2.5 miles and 10 turns that strike fear into every driver's heart. This track is intimidation. On the front straight here, we're inside with Boris said and the BMW. Watch what happens up ahead. As you go down into turn one, you can't even see where you start turning in. The car is sliding at about this point, feet on full power and right over onto these bumps. A really tricky area up ahead. Jackie Stewart called this corner the most difficult, the most dangerous in the world. All the way out to the edge, a double apex here, feeding back under throttle, almost 130 miles an hour before braking and dropping a gear into turn three. A long corner, another blind one. At this point, you're full throttle again, trying to hold the car off that curbing there. Grab one more gear, back up to 135 miles an hour, briefly off it, and this turn has changed from last year, but up ahead, the famous Moss corner. A critical turn because here you want to set up the best exit possible, carrying speed up what this should be is a straight. They call this the straight, but look at it. But it is the only chance you get on this track to take a breath at all. You're climbing up the hills here, look in the mirror, see who's trying to pass you. Watch up ahead to see who you have to pass. And way up ahead, over that rise, right there is your final braking area into an ultra high-speed turn 8. Just a stab on the brakes, drop a couple gears, and then carry a lot of speed up through here. 120 miles an hour, down another gear right here. The car wants to get over sideways, drop a gear. Look at him, he fights the wheel. He's got to keep that thing in line. And up here, turn 10, our last corner leading on to the start-finish straight. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a racetrack.
And a very difficult and very breathtaking course the drivers will face in today's race. You see the field beginning to roll off now from their positions along the grid. One lap back around to the green flag, and we'll get started with this afternoon's Grand Prix of Mosport. Over the next couple of hours, as the field comes to the final corner, we're set to go racing. It is the 6th event of 12 in the American Le Mans Series season, the GlobeMegaWheels.com Grand Prix of Mosport. Pace car is off. Audi and Pano's on the front row coming down for the start.
Oh, contact!
Before they even get the green flag.
Amazing, and that really is wheel spin. I would watch for something. They have to be so careful on this lap. That shows you how little traction they all have right now. Look at the Audis over the bumps again. Remember we talked about that. The Pano's a lot stiffer, a lot harder to handle on these bumps.
The only word that keeps popping into my mind right here, Bill, is just chaos. There is chaos on the racetrack. There are cars crashed everywhere. There are cars in the pits, out of the pits, different tire strategies. The whole running order's been jumbled. That's the number 6 BMW of Brian Simo and Johannes van Overbeek that has gotten off course and into the outside wall.
I'm sure he's gotten the outside wall too, just because of a problem with the traction. Here's a replay, the number 22 car trying to go down turn 2. Look how loose this is. Incredible. He's trying desperately, keep his foot on the throttle, and finally, get his foot on it, try and stop this thing from sliding. And you can see that he didn't slide very much off the pavement, but it is so slippery. Yeah, I think that is Jim for sure. I can see the black and white striped helmet there. That's the Reynard that's banged in. Potentially dangerous situation if somebody else happens to do the same thing, which there have been a number of incidents like that. That is Jim.
Just touched the throttle a little too much off the corner, broke traction, and off he goes. There's one of the BMWs off.
Oh, gee, a number 7 car. That's
his
Stuck and Sport.
That's Hans Stuck,
that's Hans driving right now.
And he's going very slowly. Fourth spot, we look back into the GT race.
You know, GT race really has just been a Porsche stranglehold all day long for Alex Job Racing. Last year, Alex Job had the worst possible thing happen in practice and qualifying. They rolled the car, went through an all-night session, rebuilt it, and then had the God's smile on them. They come back on the race day, won the race. Well, this week, this year, they qualify on the pole and have led from the pole from the word go. So they are having, well, I don't want to jinx them, but they're having a good day so far.
Watching as Bruno Lambert drives that Porsche in some heavy traffic with some of the other GTS cars and some of the prototype cars mixed in and among him, plus the rain that he's got to deal with. He's got his hands full today, running an 8th spot overall right now.
And one of their nemesis immediately ahead of him right there. You can just see the tail of the BMW. That's the one to watch.
Back with more of round 6 of the American Le Mans Series in just a minute on Speed Vision. Here, driving the number 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche, pulled off somewhat of a surprise in winning pole for this event, and
indeed
they've paced the class the whole time through so far. Some of the favorites have had problems, and it's just been so much chaos in the first half of this race. We haven't had a chance to talk about it much. The favorite Dick Barber Racing Porsches, both have run into problems. We saw Bob Wallach get run into by a slower car and have a tire go down and some suspension problems. The other car, the Muller Lure machine, went out early with a mechanical failure of some sort. So those two cars plus the BMWs all trailing this privateer team throughout the race.
I think this is everybody's dream, is to take a privateer team and go against the very best. And Dick Barber, of course, has factory backing. Tom Milner, who runs the BMW team, he has factory backing. Alex Job, more or less, runs this on his own. He came up here, did such a job last year, dominated, had a very, very convincing win here last year, and he's come back again this year and proven that he's learned from the track. He learned even at the last race at Sears Point because he had such a strong performance out there.
Looking back now for the second place car in the GT class. Here it comes into the picture. The BMW M3, Hans Stuck. And Boris said the co-drivers in that machine so far today really haven't been a threat to get up and take the lead away from the Alex Job Porsche, but have run up to second place in class. Now, last race at Sears Point, an apparent winning car for this team had its victory stripped in post-race tech. Steve Evans has more.
A few weeks ago, Sonoma, California, the GT story was all about fuel. The Porsches and the BMW staging an epic battle. It won for over 2 hours. Finally, the BMW M3 with Hans Stuck and Boris Said took the checkered flag, but their celebration didn't last long because the tech department said this fuel cell was just a little too big. Tom Milner, owner of this team.
Well, yes, it was sad for, we really worked very hard to be competitive with the Porsches, and after the race, our fuel tank was found to be 2 liters too large. 2 liters represents these 4 balls right here, which we use to correct the tank to its right capacity, and our bottom floor on the gas tank basically bent down, and $4.74 a piece times 4 cost us $10,000. So still, it doesn't take away from the performance of the drivers and the team. We're now competitive with the Porsche, and we will try here at Mosport to redeem ourselves.
And the larger cell had no impact on the race whatsoever. There was still lots of fuel left in it.
Ping pong balls.
Ping pong balls,
fuel tank.
The world's most expensive. These tanks, of course, are produced for a variety of different applications, and rather than have one custom built, which would be horrendously expensive, you use the size that more or less fits, and then fill it up with blocks to take up capacity. And it's just one of those things that it failed.
Didn't make tech. Understand this car might have a problem developing on it. Hans Stuck, maybe, report we're getting, has a left rear tire that might be going down on it.
Yeah, I think that's Boris in the car right now. The car has looked for a few laps like it's getting a little bit tail happy, but these cars do tend to be that way. We watched him through qualifying, and he actually gave us our in-car laps off the track, and he fought that car a lot. The tail is always sliding around. Look at how fast even this car is with the back straight. He'll be over 150 miles an hour up at the top here. Just one final little hump right there. Well, I lied. He didn't make 150.
If I thought I had a left rear tire going down, I might not be crossing that little hill without those brake lights coming on like he just did.
That's where you pull in, you give it to your co-driver and say it's your turn.
Yeah, no question. Let's get an update on some of the stories in the GT class. Martin Haven on pit lane. What do you got?
Well, guys, up to third in the GT class is one of the machines that we almost rode off earlier in the show. Dick Barber Racing's number 51 car. And Bob Wallach just saying a moment or two ago, just never count us out. They've worked their way back up into third place after Wallach, first of all, picked up a puncture. When he came in to change it, got held in the pit lane.
Grand Prix of Mosport here today at Mosport International Raceway. Audi, BMW, and then the GTS. Terrific class fight between Viper and Ved. Stay with us. We'll be right back to Mosport in just a minute.
It's just one of those days that this is going to be a race that I don't think anybody here at the track today, us included, will ever forget. Just incredibly good racing in every class.
We had everything from a false start at the very beginning of the race to penalties to the eventual winner, to 11 lead changes, 5 safety cars, the rain, the drying track conditions, the tire strategies. What a day. And it was very enjoyable by the end of it with the Audi team coming out on top, but just barely.